this meeting at 10 o'clock. So you are all very welcome. Let us just quickly do the apologies, Mr. Mthalini.
Thank you, Chairperson. We haven't received any apology, Chair.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Can I have a proposal for the agenda that we've just gone through? Anyone?
Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I have a seconder, please, for the agenda?
Thank you.
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, honourable members. Let us then go on to the consideration of the report. Mr. Mthalini, are you taking us through it, or Dr. Clark?
Dr. Clark, Chair.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Clark. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Let me just check that I'm sharing the correct screen. Yeah. Is the report being flighted, Honourable Chair?
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity, Honourable Chairperson. I present the draft committee report on the consideration of the budget vote and annual performance plan of the Department of Transport. By way of introduction, the department briefed the committee on 29 April 2026. The department being responsible for conducting research and formulating legislation and really setting the sector-wide strategic direction for the various forms of transport. In the introductory remarks, the chairperson noted the candor of the situational analysis, but also drew attention to systemic governance and accountability weaknesses within the broader transport ecosystem. In analyzing the alignment between budget allocations and strategic planning, the report reflects on the department's total budget over the next 3 years, which is projected to be 313 billion rand, with expenditure increasing at the annual rate of 1.6% from now until 2028. The report also highlights, as expected, transfers and subsidies takes up the bulk of the department's budget, 94.4% to be specific. And for that reason, the report also looks at some of the intended projects to be funded through those transfers. At SANRAL, that includes 63.9 billion rand for the non-toll network. That includes under the provincial road maintenance grant an allocation of 1.5 billion rand, including funding to Eastern Cape and Limpopo for disaster, for infrastructure affected by natural disasters. PARR will receive an estimated amount of 95.6 billion over the midterm, with 31.3 billion going towards signalling. The committee being aware of the importance for signalling, both in terms of the speed at which trains can operate, as well as the number of trains that can operate on a network. The report looks at per program what some of the expenditure patterns looks like. Program 1 administration expected growth is quite low. As well as for integrated transport planning, expectation expenditure growth is quite modest, with 18.2 million being dedicated towards the establishment of the transport economic regulator. Rail transport, recognizing that it's pivotal to economic recovery and logistics reform. Here we see a significant amount of the budget, 98 billion, being transferred to PRASA and Transnet over the medium term. Road transport holds the largest expenditure, also relates directly to public safety and freight efficiency. It's also here where we see where the program of the department integrates job creation through labor-intensive approaches and aligns with priorities for women, youth, and persons with disabilities. The committee will, in its consideration of mid-year performance, look at what the attainment of those targets actually is as the year rolls out. Civil aviation, we see declining expenditure patterns, largely because of once-off allocations in earlier years. Members will recall in earlier years, significant expenditure was given to ATNS for infrastructure, for example. Maritime transport, the expenditure is linked to positioning South Africa as an international maritime center. And their planned outputs focus on shipping capacity, coastal shipping, port governance, and environmental protection. Public transport, we see there the winding down of the public transport network grant, how that affects expenditure patterns. So your expansion will look more at reform rather than expanding the physical infrastructure, as the department has also presented to the committee in previous meetings. We also see Program 8, State-Owned Companies, Governance, Assurance and Performance, and how this is essential for accountability across the transport portfolio. And here, planned performance looks at oversight frameworks, shareholder compacts, governance compliance, and risk management. So just highlighting some of the deliberations that took place during the engagement, members inquired about the targets for outputs or outcomes for PRASA's legacy fleet, what we call the yellow fleet. The department responded that will largely be operating on the lines in rural areas or outside of urban centers, but that is tied to the suitability of the rail infrastructure. Members also saw progress on the implementation of the recently published regulations covering e-hailing services. The department responded by highlighting the responsibility that your provincial regulatory entities have. So the first step will be converting the former license into operating licenses specific for e-hailers. On the department side, they will be looking at aspects of the regulations that the department is responsible for, and that would include vehicle identification. The department was requested to provide an update on the GO Durban Integrated Public Transport Network. The department responded that the impasse has largely been overcome, and that the next step will now be creating the vehicle operating company and commencing with operations on Corridor C3. On progress within RAF, the department noted that since the appointment of the new board, there has been improvements in the payout of claims. However, acknowledged that the underlying funding model for RAF is unsustainable, with the entity operating at a shortfall of approximately 20 billion annually, and the entity being exclusively dependent on fuel levy for funding. And for this reason, reform will be introduced through the Road Accident Benefit Scheme. The committee also inquired about progress on the Moloto Corridor rail project. The department acknowledged that there's not been significant development of the project on the rail side, and that the department has instead been focusing on improvements on the roadside infrastructure. Public transport availability was raised as an issue, particularly for low-income and rural commuters. And here the department responded with looking at the subsidies that is provided to provincial and local governments, metropolitan municipalities, apologies, which are intended to reduce fare pressures. In closing, the committee also considered the state-owned entities, particularly raising South African Airways in light of recent concerns. And the department responded on measures it has put in place, including quarterly oversight engagements with SAA, and also stating that SAA has been requested to submit a turnaround plan. On the recommendations, just linking back to the strategic planning session, members will recall there was an appeal to committees to relook at how recommendations have been phrased, specifically looking at crafting recommendations that are specific, measurable, attainable, time-bound, and realistic and time-bound. So the recommendations members will see, that is also linked to the fact that In the previous year, the committee has spent a lot of time getting to the fundamentals of the different portfolios, transport, public works, and infrastructure planning, monitoring, and evaluation. So the committee is now at a stage where our recommendation can take on a more, if I can call it, mature formulation, Chairperson. So not sort of migrating from requesting reports to actually linking our recommendations to what the actual outcomes is that the department says it wants to achieve. So the first recommendation is that the department submit a report on the return on investments from department-funded graduate and trainees. So the report must include what fields of study such graduates were registered in, have they completed their studies, what is the dropout rate, and then more important, in which positions have those graduates actually been appointed within the department, public entities or the private sector, so that we can see what the return on investment is, and what the available skill sets within the transport sector is then produced. The second one is that the department must submit the report showing the growth trajectory of emerging contractors. So if we're saying we are supporting emerging contractors, give us examples of contractors. Show us where they've started with a particular CIDB rating, a particular contract value, and how over the years they have matured to higher CIDB ratings or higher contract values. And linking that recommendation specifically to Section 17 of the Constitution that talks about preferential allocation of contracts. Lastly, a register of SANRAL concessions, outlining concession lifespans, contract maturation dates, and the provisions for local participation and skills transfers contained within such concession contracts. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Dr. Clark, thank you very much. And let me just also on behalf of the committee voice our appreciation for the compilation of the report. Honourable members, let me also thank all of you for your inputs during the meeting. I think Dr. Clark has captured those inputs quite accurately, and I appreciate the fact that we now have recommendations that are linked to practical, measurable deliverables, and I thank Dr. Clark for that as well. Honourable members, the report is to be considered for adoption. Are there a proposer for this report?
Chairperson, I propose this report for you.
Thank you very much. Can I have a seconder for that proposal, please?
I hereby second, Chairperson.
Who's that? Sorry, I can't see your name.
It's Honorable Mabebu here.
Honourable Mabebe, thank you very much. Honourable members, for the sake of brevity and to save time, are there any comments that any of the members will make in terms of the report before we go over to the vote? If there's nothing, can I then ask that any of the members who are not in support of the report, can you just raise your hand? If there are no hands, I'll take it that our committee is in support of the report, and the report is therefore adopted unanimously. Thank you very much.
No, I raise my hand.
Who's that?
Good morning, I raise my hand.
Honourable Nzimande, are you not in support of the report?
Yeah, dissenting view. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Honourable Nzimande. As per usual, we appreciate that. Thank you very much. We'll make a note of that. Can we then go over, thank you very much, honourable members. Can we then go over to the next part of the agenda, the consideration and adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting? Can you please flight those minutes, Mr. Mthalini?
Dr. Clark, can you take out the report?
Honourable members, these minutes have been circulated to you. So I'm just going to ask Mr. Mthalini to flight them, and we'll just quickly perused them, but they have been sent to all of you, so you've all had a chance to have a look at them. Thank you very much, Mr. Mtulini. And let's just start at the beginning. Thank you very much. It's the minutes on the briefing by the Department of Transport on its strategic plan, the APP, and the E&E, or the budget of the department. Just have a look at the attendance there. If there's any issues, just let me know. You can go down. Thank you, Mr. Mtulini. It's fine. Thank you very much. Opening, apologies. Let's just have a look at the apologies. Thank you. Proceedings, deliberations. And the adoption of the previous meeting's minutes. Adjournment was at 12:30. Thank you very much, honourable members. Can I have a proposer for these minutes, please? Thank you, Dr. Skeerkogel. Can I have a seconder for the minutes, please?
Hereby second, it's Honorable Mabebo here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mabebo. Are there any matters arising from the minutes? Any issues? I don't see any hands. The minutes are therefore duly adopted. Thank you very much, honourable members. This is just a reminder that we will have a meeting on Thursday at 2 o'clock. You will recall that the Department of Public Works were not available to present their APP and budget to us due to a clash with another committee meeting in Parliament on last week. So they will be presenting their budget to us on Thursday at 2 o'clock. And we also have another matter that we will be dealing with in the committee meeting. Dr. Clark will be assisting us with that. That was the appointment of some of the board members that was dealt with by our portfolio committee colleagues. So we'll deal with that matter as well on Thursday. Honourable members, thank you very much for your attendance. This gives you enough time to go and have a quick cup of coffee before we go into the meeting at 10 o'clock with our sister committee. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.